Hello, sports fans. Welcome to Super Sports Central. Today, we're going to go over my top 10 NFL free agent landing spots. So, we'll be going over my top 10 free agents and then a few landing spots for each player. And players that have been franchise tagged already will not be on this list. Starting off with a few honorable mentions, we've got Jordan Poyer, Jimmy Garoppolo, and Jamel Dean. Getting into the top 10, at number 10, we've got Zach Allen. So, he's improved every season for the Cardinals. His numbers aren't amazing, only 5.5 sacks this past season, but he's been steadily improving as a good pass rusher, good run defender, and a very good tackler. So now, I could see Zach Allen going back to the Cardinals because the Cardinals really need edge rusher with him leaving, or a free agent, and also J.J. Watt retiring. But I really have no idea where Zach Allen could possibly sign, so I'm going to say he goes back to the Cardinals. So, Zach Allen, my number 10 free agent available, he returns to the Arizona Cardinals. Number 9, we got Dre'Mont Jones. So he's a fantastic interior pass rusher, coming off a season with the Broncos where he totaled 6.5 sacks, 16 pressures in only 13 games because he was limited due to injury. Now, Jones will be an enticing option for several teams because he's young, proven, and could get even better. So Dre'Mont Jones, I could see going to the Seahawks, Panthers, or Dolphins. I have him going to the Seahawks. They've got the cap space, and they could definitely get better and younger on the defensive line. And they add a young player in Dre'Mont Jones who can get even better, and he's only 26. My 8th best free agent available is linebacker Tremaine Edmunds. So Edmunds is a fantastic linebacker, coming off a season with the Bills where he had 102 tackles, an interception, and a sack. Now, he's also one of the youngest players available at only 24. Now, the downside to Tremaine Edmunds, despite being a really good linebacker, is he's very inconsistent. He'll follow really good games up with really bad games. So he'll have games where he's like one of the best linebackers in the NFL, and then the next game will be non-existent. So Edmunds will be very interesting for a lot of teams. I don't think he returns to Buffalo just because they don't have the money to re-sign him, and the Bills are also prepared to lose Tremaine Edmunds and Jordan Poyer in free agency. So landing spots for Tremaine Edmunds, not including the Bills, are the Lions, Texans, and Giants. I'm going to say Tremaine Edmunds goes to the Texans, which might be surprising, but they've got the cap space. They just brought in a new defensive-minded head coach, DeMeco Ryans. He's coming from San Francisco, where he had a tremendous linebacker, Fred Warner, as the centerpiece of his defense. I think he tries to do something similar, and he brings in one of the best linebackers available in Tremaine Edmunds, and he really helps the Texans' defense. So I've got Tremaine Edmunds to the Texans. My number 7 free agent available is Bobby Wagner. So he's a free agent yet again after he was cut by the Rams just 1 year after signing a 5-year, $50 million contract. So Bobby Wagner, he's getting older, but he's still a very good linebacker and one of the better defensive players available this offseason. He's coming off a season where he had 140 tackles, 2 interceptions, and 6 sacks with the Rams. So Bobby Wagner would likely go to a contending team such as the Bengals or the Lions, and he would provide a big boost to either defense. I've got Wagner going to the Bengals, and they will replace free agent linebacker Jermaine Pratt with Bobby Wagner. My number 6 free agent available is Mike McGlinchey. So he's one of the best free agent tackles this year, and he's also one of the better right tackles in the NFL. He's a very good run blocker, a solid pass blocker, but at times struggles against athletic pass rushers. Now, I think McGlinchey would fit better in a run-first system as he is one of the better run blockers in the NFL. So now, landing spots for McGlinchey include run-first offenses such as the Bears and the Titans. I have McGlinchey going to the Bears. They need to protect Justin Fields. They've got the money to do so. They signed Mike McGlinchey to be their right tackle. My number 5 free agent is Jesse Bates. So he was franchise tagged by the Bengals last year, but this season he'll hit the open market. And the Bengals, I don't think they're in a position where they feel they have to bring back Jesse Bates, because they drafted Daxton Hill last year, so I think he could definitely play and take over if Jesse Bates ends up leaving, which I definitely think he will. So whichever team Jesse Bates goes to, he's going to be an instant upgrade to any secondary, as he's coming off a season where he had 8 passes defended and 4 interceptions. Landing spots for Jesse Bates include the Falcons, Raiders, and Lions. So I have Jesse Bates going to the Falcons. They need somebody good at safety. They've got the money to do it, and they upgrade their secondary, getting the best safety available. A really second best safety. We'll get to the other one in a second. My number 4 free agent is James Bradbury. So Bradbury, he's getting older, but he's still a very good corner. He's coming off a season where he had 17 passes defended, which was 3rd in the NFL, and also 3 interceptions. Now, he is 29, but he's still very good, as I just said. But I think the Eagles would like to bring him back, but they don't have a ton of cap space. I think they'd like to get cheaper and younger at the position. So I have Bradbury not returning to Philly. Instead, I can see him going to either the Lions or the Vikings. Both NFC North teams desperately need help in their secondary. I've got James Bradbury going to Detroit. My number 3 free agent available is C.J. Gardner-Johnson, so another Eagle on the list. He's a very valuable player to the Eagles' defense. and he'd be valuable to any team's defense because he's such a versatile player. He could play in the slot, he could play safety, he could play in the box. He's a very unique and versatile player. So now, I don't think it's going to be cheap for the Eagles to bring back. I think he's going to have a lot of interest because of his versatility and age at only 25 years old. But I do think the Eagles will bring back Gardner Johnson, and I really, really think they should because he's been one of the best players in their secondary. The number 2 free agent available is Javon Hargrave, the third Eagle in a row on this list. So he's coming off a career-best 11 sack season. Now, he is older at 30 years old, but he still has some good seasons ahead of him. So I expect him to have plenty of suitors in free agency. Landing spots for Javon Hargrave include the Bears, Falcons, and Raiders. I've got Hargrave to the Bears as they've got the money, and I have them upgrading the defensive line and the offensive line as he's my second player. They're signing. They also signed Mike McGlinchey that I talked about a few minutes ago, but they upgrade both lines, the offensive line and the defensive line. They bring in Javon Hargrave here as they upgrade the trenches on both sides of the ball, and they have a ton of cap space to do it. And my number 1 free agent available is Orlando Brown. He's one of the best tackles and left tackles in the NFL. I'm honestly surprised the Chiefs let him hit the open market and didn't franchise tag him. He should definitely be the number 1 priority for the Chiefs this offseason. Now, they don't have a ton of cap space, but they can definitely create some space by either cutting players or reworking some contracts. And I think they really need to bring back Orlando Brown because he's one of the best left tackles in football. He's the blindside protector to the best quarterback in the league, Patrick Mahomes. And Orlando Brown back to the Chiefs is an absolute must if you're the Chiefs right now, and I think the Chiefs make that happen. They bring back Orlando Brown. So those are my top 10 NFL free agent landing spots and where I think they'll end up. But I thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment, turn notification symbols, and the upcoming videos. I do my best to post as often as possible. Let me know in the comments if there's someone I missed in the top 10, or if there's a player you have going somewhere else that I didn't mention. But thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment, turn on notifications. I do my best to post as often as possible, and I will see you in the next video.